everyone, welcome to another Storytime Saturday. I hope you are all gathered around, nice and comfortable, and ready to enjoy yet another great story. Today we're going to read Action Jackson by Greenberg and Sandra Jordan, illustrated by Robert Andrew Parker. So let's go ahead and get started. Some of his account is imagined. We don't know in the sequence of events during the months of May and June 1950, when Jackson Pollock painted Lavender Mist, was exactly as we have described it. But we do have many first-hand reports about the summer when he made so many of his great paintings, his life in springs, the way he dressed, the way he talked and walked, and most important, the way he painted. And on those we have based our story. In the afternoon, Jackson Pollock put on his paint-splattered boots and walks across the yard. The wind blows in from Gartner's Bay, bringing the scent of salt marshes and sea lavender. His eyes miss nothing. Sunlight on the tree branches, tangled stalks of blackberry bushes, beetles crawling in the grass underfoot. Kaka, the crow he tamed, flies down and lands on his shoulder. His border collie, Gip, runs in circles demanding a walk, across the fields and down a country road to the wide, sandy beach. But Jackson turns and keeps going. The gray, weathered barn used to be filled with rusted machinery, old fishing gear, and broken tools. Now it's his art studio, a place for painting. Some artists put a canvas on an easel or hang it on a wall. Not Jackson. He spreads his out like a sheet, smoothing it flat with large hands. He wants his paintings to be big, big as the sky out. Big as the sky out west where he grew up, flat as the marshland behind the house. Sunlight pokes through cracks in the boards. It flies buzzed in the dusty studio air. Sliding doors rattle on their frames. He sits, silent on the floor, staring at a blank canvas. Oops. Some artists cover the canvas with a base coat of white paint. Not Jackson. He wants the paint to soak into the surface, leaving bare patches peeking through the stains of color. Some painters use oil paint or watercolor. Not Jackson. He used ordinary house paint from the warehouse store to make this painting. Some artists paint pictures of flowers or people or landscapes. Not Jackson. He expresses his thoughts and feelings directly on the canvas, calling it energy and motion made visible. And still he sits, surrounded by the cans of enamel, brushes stiff with dry paint, knives, sticks, a spatula, and canvases, waiting. Hours go by like minutes. Suddenly he feels exhausted, used up, his inspiration gone. Things get in the way of the flow, like roots blocking a soil line. He puts down the brush and goes into the house to help make supper, his mind filled with thoughts about the wet painting back on the studio floor. The next afternoon, Jackson prowls around the canvas, studying his work, but he doesn't pick up a brush. Instead, he walks the beach past the sandy marshes and tall spartina grass that waves in the breeze. He spends hours sitting on a grassy dune, watching the gulls. In the barn, the layers of paint dry. Almost a week passes before he dips a brush and begins his dance. What is he thinking? Does he see the sunlight beach, the pattern of waves, the interlacing branches of the trees, the lush summer grass outside his studio. I don't know where my pictures come from, they just come, and the paint flows. Like the Native American sand painters he saw as a boy out west, he moves around the canvas, coaxing the paint into loops and curves. On the floor, I am much more at ease. I can walk round it, work from the four sides, be in the painting. Fireworks splatter of rosy pink, twisting ropes of white, spangles of silver, a lavender glow where pink and blue black paint meet. Jackson listens to jazz recordings in the evening. He likes musicians who improvise, inventing their own melodies as they play. While he paints, the notes spin over and over in his memory, swish and swish again. The rhythm of the brush matches the rhythm of the music. If a penny fell out of his pocket, he would leave it. An insect lands in the wet paint and there it stays. Nails and tacks become a part of the texture. He caresses the surface with the sticky, painted stained hands. One, then two, handprints across the canvas. His eyes move up and down, back and forth. With light steps, he follows the sweep of his brush. He stops, and a pool of paint pauses. Paint, paint, and more paint, dripping, pouring, flinging. The paint has a life of its own. I try to let it come through. Again he stops. He climbs the ladder to look down at the whole canvas. Every muscle aches, but his eyes, his mind, his heart know the painting is finished. Some people will be shocked when they see what he has created. Some angry, some confused, some excited. Some filled with happiness they can hardly explain, but everyone will agree. Jackson Pollock is doing something original, painting in a way that no one has ever seen before. Number 1, 1950 Lavender Mist, National Gallery of Art, Washington, D.C. For the next few days, he and his wife, Lee, plant the vegetable garden. They drive into town in their Model A Ford. He digs for clams on the beach. On the weekend, friends drop by for a party. It will take another week for the thick paint to dry. Then Jackson and Lee will tack the canvas on the studio wall. Jackson sits, silent, staring at the blank canvas spread on the floor of the barn, waiting. Soon he will dip his brush in a can of paint, lifting it high in the air to begin again. And that was another Storytime Saturday complete. Thank you again for joining us. I really like this book. I did not know much of Jackson Pollock's history, so this was a really good, little informative, fun book. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys are able to drop your favorite part down in the comments. Let us know. And thank you again so much for tuning in.